Yeah, because
That's the
Grandma Lil she went with the dad over to the west,
yeah,
in this, yeah, and then another sister ended up like in Ontario, correct?
yeah, yeah.
From Prince Edward
But
Island.
her finding that's a hell of a story, you know. Anyway, yeah, they found out she was from a little village called Pisgwit, and they went out there, and Grandpa Jack, all there was a little country store with a gas station. And Jack went up and he says, "Is there anybody named what the heck, Burke? Is there any Burkes around here? Burke. That's what my mother thought her maiden name was, Burke." And the guy says, "No," he says, "I've been here about 30 years." He says, "You see that little yellow house up there a couple blocks away?" He said, "Mr. J lives there. He's in his 90s, and if anybody knows, he would know." So they drove up there and pulled in the driveway, and Jack got out of the car and went up and knocked on the door, and this old guy comes and answered the door. And he says, "We're looking for some Burkes, family of Burkes." And this man Jay said, "Nah, there's never been any Burkes around here." In the meantime, my mother sees the old guy on the porch. She gets out of the car, and she's walking up there as Jack's talking to this doctor, or Mr. J. And she says, "My mother was named Rebecca." And the guy got a smile on his face, and he says, "You must be Lillian." And he says, "I remember in 1918 when you left town with your dad. I remember the shoes and the dress you had on." Jesus, they couldn't believe it. So they talked for a few minutes, and that Mr. J says, "You see that brown house down there a couple blocks on the..." He says, your sister lives there." My mother hadn't seen her sister. You know,
Did she know she had a little sister?
she knew she had one sister, but I don't know about the other.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, she went down there and they knocked on the door, and Maud was her name, her sister's name, and she come to the door, and Lil says, "I'm your sister, you know," and they had big crying jack. But her granddaughter, Maud's granddaughter, she's a lawyer,
Mm-hmm.
and she let Ken and I stay in their house. They took off. She says, "There's no doubt in my mind that was the happiest day in my grandma's life when Lil found her."
Yeah.
And then they got in touch with the other sister, and she didn't want nothing to do with it.
Right. Yeah, because the dad took
He split
Grandma
the
Lil,
family. Yeah.
and the aunt took the other
Yeah,
sister.
one aunt took one, and then I guess another aunt took the other, and he took Lillian and was the oldest.
Right.
She was 5.
Yeah, because the mom had passed away when he was at the war, right?
Just before he got to home. He
From
died
World
from the
War I.
1918 flu.
Yeah.
What a story.
Yeah. Yeah, she didn't even realize she had a sister there in Prince Edward Island.
What do you mean?
The little sister. She didn't even know about her being there. And to find the old guy that said that the house was down the street.
Yeah, she didn't know she had a sister on Prince Edward Island. She knew she had one back in Montreal or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.